Hi everyone, Andy here. Welcome to the Crypto Wealth Cafe, brought to you, of course, by Dacxi, powering serious crypto wealth for serious crypto wealth investors. Time for our weekly look at the markets. Time to grab yourself a drink. If you're at a cafe or somewhere like that, perhaps get a nice cup of coffee, relaxing cup of tea, put the kettle on if you're at home, or of course, if it is after dark, you have my permission to pour yourself something stronger. All right, let's get on with it, shall we? So if we start over here at coinmarketcap.com, which is where we usually start off, we can see that Bitcoin is at $31,851, actually a little bit up from where we were 7 days ago. So that's was a nice little 7% jump. Yeah, up from around 30k yesterday and really the last week. Certainly too early to get too excited about this, but it just means there are some buyers certainly stepping in to buy at these, I think it's fair to say, discounted levels. Not quite so much movement on Ethereum. Ethereum still under $2,000. And if we move down, we can see there's some activity in the altcoin market. Cardano is also really enjoying quite a significant bounce. I think they'd be the best performer, really in the top 20 at the moment. So, nonetheless, the Crypto Fear and Greed Index still showing extreme fear, not quite as extreme as we've been, listeners, in the last month or so, but yeah, still very much, not positive market sentiment as you'd expect as we find ourselves currently in the bear market. So if we look at the Bitcoin chart, we can see where we are and see this green candle here is that kind of big 7.5% jump up yesterday, really about 36 hours ago, probably 48 hours ago by the time you're watching this, listeners. So I mean it's always good to see a little green candle, but again, certainly too early to get excited about things. We're really just in this kind of range here at the bottom of the market. So if we look at let's just zoom this out a little bit. Go to 1 year. Yeah, 1 year, and I mean that kind of shows. Yeah, shows that we've really taken all of the froth out of this bull market, if you like, and now trying to establish potentially a new bottom here, a new bottom range, and then, well, we'll see. Eventually, listeners, we will of course resume the bull market. But it's just really a matter of time, and no one, of course, knows how long. We'll have to wait. So we'll have to wait and see. Be assured, listeners, that we'll be tracking our progress here on the Crypto Wealth Cafe, and we do have a few indicators that we've looked at in past episodes to help give us some clues. So yeah, we'll keep a track on all of those as we go forward. Slightly different show for you today. I want to talk today about precious metals, which we'll do in just 1 second. I just did have a couple of charts here that I thought could just give us a little bit of a insight into the market as well. So let's just quickly go through them. So Raoul Pal, of course, he writes the Global Macro Investor, and he said yesterday that he was writing the Global Macro Investor and he wanted to share a few insights. So I'm not going to go through this whole thread. You can find it on Twitter for yourself. Just search up Raoul, because it's a long thread, a lot of charts, but just kind of the highlights, the intro and the outro, if you like. He says that the narrative on Twitter is that tech is dead. The reality, however, is that the Nasdaq has just reverted back to trend. The trend being the 150-week moving average. And you can see he's right on this chart he's posted. So if the green line, of course, is the trend, we have dumped all the way back down to the trend. The trend, of course, is still upwards and to the right, but we have been significantly above the trend for a long time, really, particularly in the last 2 years, really, with that kind of pandemic bubble really overheating the tech stocks. So put another way, says Raoul, we're actually at the bottom of the log regression channel, suggesting that the NDX is actually cheap, but it could see more downside and a spike. So you can see he's right. We're at the bottom of the channel, which traditionally is, where you want to buy, whether it's Bitcoin or stocks. That's going to be better value. Doesn't mean that we can't have another drop out of the channel, as you see that. The 2020 March COVID crash there, same thing happened. Valuations are back to average. Raoul says major long earnings recessions can cause a large deviation from the trend. So under the trend back in 2001 and 2008 could be due to just spend a little bit of time under the trend now. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see. So if we... What else does Raoul say? Yeah, he says the question is whether we're going to get a longer recession where earnings do get crushed. We are due a recession due to excess monetary tightening. That seems pretty clear. But what this chart is saying, says Raoul, is that we risk a very sharp growth contraction driven by demand destruction. That's what we're seeing here. And also here, this one just shows home builder sentiment is kind of okay, but home buyer sentiment absolutely in the toilet at the moment. So it doesn't give you great confidence. And of course, the Michigan consumer buying conditions related to price composite, well, that's not looking great either. I think that's just another way of measuring inflation. So NASDAQ is already pricing in a mild recession. Of course, there's always room to price in more. So if we just skip to the end, let's close this off. In summary, says Raoul, we have a high risk of a sharp recession that is over quickly and then we'll enter another risk-off period. But it is not a certainty. The odds of a bigger recession are lower, but this could change. Inflation, however, is a past problem. Probability suggests, says Raoul, that you do well buying tech over the next month or so. That's what Raoul says he is doing. He is a buyer, he says. But you'll have to assess that framework in real time if equities don't fall further, as that just kicks the can down the road. We could see a false hope rally and then more meddling from the Fed. So it's a close call, says Raoul, but he thinks the low is close. Same applies to crypto, which has been constrained by the macro environment. And again, Raoul says, just like tech, I am a significant buyer for me into any further weakness, as these opportunities or chances don't come often and they are life-changing. 60-month exponential moving average on Bitcoin comes in at US 22,500. This is the add zone, so down with the green line is that moving average. So, regular viewers of the Crypto Wealth Cafe will be familiar with, the chart I always show from Dave the Wave, which has the buy zone, which is, roughly down in this area here. So I don't know, do we get as low as 22? I don't know. Where are we at the moment? 31. So still another significant drop to get that low. But if you're a DCA guy or girl, a dollar cost average person, I would suggest that anywhere below 30 is a good time to be dollar. Got as low as 22. That's where the smart money will go in heavy and hard. That'll be excellent buying in the long term, in my opinion, but we'll just have to see. So just some quick context there on the macro. But as I said, different show today. Really wanted to talk a little bit about precious metals, listeners, and really tokenized precious metals, which is kind of a game changer, really. And hopefully we can just see why tokenized precious metals are an interesting new addition to the market, certainly an interesting new addition to the Dacxi Wealth platform. And so that's really what I want to do, just go through this a little bit and we'll see what we can learn. So, Dacxi say that current market conditions make precious metals worth considering if you're concerned about preserving your wealth. And I think that makes sense to me. So, here we go. Financial markets and multiple asset classes are unstable. Right now, that is true. Equities are in a bear market. Cryptocurrencies are volatile, also in a bear market. And accelerating inflation is devaluing cash deposits. Having your cash in the bank, man, that's not good. There's no easy answers here at the moment. So in times like these, suggest Dacxi, gold, silver, and platinum can be a simple, safe, and effective way to diversify your portfolio and take a more conservative position. And with Dacxi, you can buy and hold precious metals quickly, easily, and cost effectively. So don't get me wrong, listeners, I'm not giving you any financial advice here, and I don't think Dacxi are either. It's up to you to kind of assess your own risk tolerance and what the right move is for you. But I think the key point here is what the Dacxi folk are saying. Talk to your financial advisor; they might have a similar view. It's if you're young, if you're 18 years old, and you've got a couple of grand to punt into the market, then obviously you can afford to be a little bit more risk on, shall we say. You can have a super long-term time horizon, and you can be a bit more volatile with your choices, if you like. Because if it all goes completely wrong, no big deal. I mean, you lost a bit of money, but you're 18 years old. You got your whole rest of your life in front of you to make it all back. On the other hand, if you're close to retirement and you've got an investment portfolio, you don't want to be stuck in these volatile portfolio positions where you could see your portfolio investments drop 50% again or more, which is always the risk, certainly, in altcoins. So that's, I think, what we're talking about when you want to take a more conservative position and kind of protect your current value of your current portfolio. So that's what we're talking about here, very much in simple terms. Right, so what Dacxi say is you can buy gold, silver, and platinum now on the Dacxi Wealth platform. Amazing. And this is a better way to buy gold, silver, and platinum because, as you'll be aware, listeners, until now, investing in precious metals, it's challenging, not easy. Because the traditional way to buy investment quality precious metal is the 1 kilo bar. I mean, you know how heavy is 1 kilo? Well, spoiler alert, it's 1 kilogram. But, in gold, that's a lot of gold. So it's too much for most people. You can buy a little bit of gold, but, you want that quality investment precious metal. It's got to be verified, come from a reputable dealer, all that kind of stuff, which makes it heavy, bulky, and valuable, expensive to store and transport, and insecure if kept at home. So, of course, the game changer here is that Dacxi tokenization eliminates those obstacles and puts precious metals within the reach of everyday investors. So they say every precious metal token is priced at the current market rate and fully backed by the equivalent amount of the underlying physical metal, which is stored and insured by one of the world's leading bullion houses. And you can sell your tokens at any time or even redeem them, and this is crucial, for the physical metal. How cool is that? So yeah, investing in precious metals has never been this safe and simple. So I suppose it's worth, asking the question, Dacxi have done it for us, what is tokenization? Glad you asked, listeners, because tokenization is the process of creating digital versions of physical assets and permanently and immutably recording that ownership on a blockchain. So the benefits of doing this with precious metals, as Dacxi have done, is they're accessible. It's simple. You just do it on the Dacxi Wealth platform using their intuitive interface. Very easy. It's frictionless buying and selling. Imagine it's a bit of a dirty business trying to buy and sell gold or silver or platinum in real life. Dealing with people and No, much easier to do it frictionless using an exchange. It just makes sense that we're living in the modern world here, people. It's also much more secure and ease of ownership. You don't have to register your ownership, worry about transport, insurance, or storage. Everything is managed by the Dacxi Wealth platform, and the bullion provider, right? So how do you do it? Well, chances are if you're watching this, you probably already got a Dacxi Wealth Platform Exchange account. So if you do, I mean, you're halfway there, listeners. You just sign into the Dacxi Wealth Platform and you can start buying those precious metals. So there's the Dacxi Gold token, there's the Dacxi Silver token, the Dacxi Platinum token, or even easier, just buy whatever you want, any amount, as part of the bundle, the Dacxi Precious Metals bundle, which makes it easy to start a precious metal portfolio with a pre-selected proportion of gold, silver, and platinum, and you get some Dacxi coin thrown in as well. Easy as that. But wait, listeners, there is more. As you can see here, there's a tokenized precious metals ebook. So if we download this, yeah, I've got a version downloaded. Let me just see if I can put it to full screen. All right, so here we are. We've downloaded our ebook and we can have a little look. Of course, listeners, if you want to download this yourself and go through it properly, you can read it in full, and then you'll be best equipped to make an informed decision as to whether Dacxi's Tokenized Precious Metals bundle is right for you. Well, then I urge you to do so. I'm just going to flick through and see what I can see in terms of some highlights. Looking pretty slick. Dacxi Learn, of course, is the publisher of this publication, and they specialize in simplifying crypto wealth. And we actually had Gisa from Dacxi Learn. I had a chat to her here on the Crypto Wealth Cafe about 5 episodes ago, so you can find that back on the Dacxi YouTube channel, which is where you are now, of course. And well, I do recommend Dacxi Learn if you're not familiar with that product. Easy way to upskill your crypto knowledge and kind of just build that long-term wealth building mindset. All right, let's keep going. This is just the contents page, listeners. So we can see that Dacxi has created a better way to buy, hold, and sell precious metals. And so what do we say here? An introduction to tokenized precious metals. For millennia, people have made gold, silver, and platinum part of their wealth strategy. They have, and that's because they're thought of as the only hard money that is trusted in challenging times, especially times of high inflation. Very true. That's why every balanced professional portfolio is expected to include precious metals. That's right. As a physical asset, of course, precious metals have proved challenging because, as we've discussed, they're inconvenient to buy, sell, store, and transport. But Dacxi has created a better way to do this with tokenized precious metals using the same blockchain technology that is used to issue cryptocurrencies. Well, there you go. So why are people buying precious metals now? Well, again, we've touched on this, but you know, the core reasons, of course, are inflation, which is, inflation is rampant around the world at the moment. You can see the CPI, Consumer Prices Index. It's I think it's much higher than that now from when this ebook was produced. It's high. Inflation, rampant. Political instability, also rampant, really. Global political instability. It can have a significant impact on investments. So, for example, they're talking about what is happening in Ukraine. And, so analysts have predicted this could impact precious metals prices because Russia is actually the world's second largest producer of platinum, third largest producer of gold, fourth largest producer of silver. Interesting. And, of course, just general economic insecurity, which really is just the state of the world at the moment. All markets are volatile. So given this, it might make sense for people to reallocate a portion of their wealth to protective assets like precious metals. And if this kind of, even a small global reallocation could produce a significant price impact, they say here. Makes sense. So the history of precious metals, don't worry listeners, I won't go too deeply into this because obviously you can read it yourself. But of course, everyone knows that gold is gold. Gold is gold. That's why it's valuable, because it's shiny, it's yellow, it's a hard metal, it's hard money, and it has been a bedrock of all financial systems really since the dawn of economic activity with humanity. Man, not sure I explained that too well, but I think if you want the actual history of gold, please listeners, you can read it here or look it up. Same, of course, with silver and platinum. So, Dacxi has transformed precious metals ownership. Again, this is just going through the problems which we've covered. And, of course, how tokenization works. So how does tokenization work? Well, tokens rely on smart contracts, of course, which are trading contracts that execute automatically on the blockchain when certain conditions are met, and you can purchase digital tokens that represent an asset with ownership transaction recorded to the blockchain. And so there's some discussion here on fungible tokens and non-fungible tokens, which of course are NFTs. Fungible tokens have two key features. They're interchangeable and divisible. Just means that, that's how a currency works. So if you think of Bitcoin, or indeed the US dollar, one US dollar is worth another US dollar. Same with Bitcoin. And that's what makes currency trading possible. Simple as that, really. Whereas non-fungible tokens are non-interchangeable and non-divisible. So you think of playing cards or NFTs, things like that. All right. So Dacxi precious metal tokens then are an example of fungible, because they need to be tradable, tangible tokens. So now we're getting interesting, right? So tangible tokens represent assets that also exist in the physical form. I like it. Makes sense. That's a great use of the word tangible there. So yeah, fungible, tangible tokens. I like that a lot, and that describes Dacxi precious metal tokens. And then there's some talk here about how some tokenized assets can be treated as speculative investments. They talk about utility tokens, security tokens, and currency tokens, and indeed how tokenization can allow for both fractional ownership and proof of ownership. And so some of the examples of assets that can already and in the near future are likely to be tokenized includes precious metals, venture capital funds, bonds, commodities, real estate, sports teams, racehorses, artwork, music, even classic cars. So I can kind of get a sense of where this is going. So what are the benefits of asset tokenization? Well, tokenization is particularly beneficial for assets that aren't currently traded electronically, and for those that need increased transparency to improve liquidity and tradability. That all makes sense. So the examples and benefits of tokenization: increased liquidity, fairer prices, fairer trading, reduced management and overhead costs, shorter lockup periods. It's a transparent process because it's all verifiable on chain, and of course your secure identity can be KYC'd and AML'd when appropriate. And we keep going. So also appeals to a broader investor base, much more geographically spread around the world, reduced settlement times, decreased cost for reconciliation and securities trading, regulatory evolution going forward, and improved asset liability management. Yes, very interesting. So I won't go too deep into this, but this, you can see here, it talks about the asset tokenization process. And I think, as Dacxi goes forward, they're working on the Dacxi chain, and a lot of different kind of crowdfunding tokenization opportunities are part of that roadmap. So I think it's good to learn about some of this stuff now, and I think they're doing a great job of laying out that framework. for what the near future might look like as this kind of Web3 tokenization trend really starts to take off over the year or two ahead. It's very exciting. In the meantime, of course, I think that's it really. We've had a look at precious metals tokenization, and here is how to buy them. So again, look, listeners, if you're watching this, you probably got a Dacxi Wealth Platform account, but just log in, go to the precious metals page, and you can buy them separately or just as part of the Dacxi Precious Metals bundle. And the allocation is 60% gold, 15% silver, 5% platinum, 20% Dacxi coin. There you go. Minimum order £1,000, or the equivalent, I imagine. And yeah, I think that's it. Just some important information on security and so on at the end there. Technical details for those inclined. And there you go. Thanks for reading. Hey, thanks for watching, team. So I think we reached the end of the show. As I say, slightly different show today, but it's good also, here on the Crypto Wealth Cafe, being brought to you by Dacxi. It is good, I think, that sometimes we look at the particular Dacxi product offerings, and well, this is one of the big ones at the moment, and it just makes sense given the volatile, uncertain nature of the world. Again, it's that key word, for those people looking for a more conservative position in the market at the moment, to protect their wealth. Precious metals could be a good option. Tokenized precious metals, an even more convenient option in my view. So I've given you just a very, very quick overview, but all the information is on the Dacxi website should you wish to explore more. I'll leave it with you, listeners. See you next week. We'll be here again, same time, same channel. For now, this was the Crypto Wealth Cafe. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.